welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I am your host, Marla Martenson, and today I have a super juicy topic for any woman who wants to conceive, who wants to have a baby. I am with Denise Wiesner today, and she is the author of this awesome book, Conceiving with Love. She is certified by the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine and is the founder of Natural Healing and Acupuncture in West Los Angeles, here in California. She's a certified sex coach, licensed acupuncturist, and herbalist. When she isn't working, teaching, or writing, Denise enjoys playing guitar, practicing yoga, dancing, and spending time with Noah and Ethan, her two sons. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you.
Yay.
Excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. And before I started rolling the camera, I was telling you that I'm a matchmaker, and so many women over the years, I've been doing this 18 years, and there's many women still wanting to conceive or have a baby, and now they're 39, 40, even some women who are 45 are telling me they still want to have a child. So I would love to share this with all of those ladies so that they can maybe have some hope, or maybe they're going to hear some hard, cold facts. I don't know, but tell us your thoughts on that, and does the book help with the trying to conceive later in life?
I think that, first of all, I see a ton of women that come into my practice that are in their 40s that want to conceive. In fact, I just saw a woman who was an amazing, beautiful actress yesterday who was going to freeze her eggs at 38 because she would like to have a baby someday and realizes that sort of time is marching on. So, I've seen women in 45 get pregnant naturally. So there is hope for sure. There's always hope. And but sometimes, women don't conceive at 45. It's very individual. This book is really about, keeping your body fertile. Mm-hmm. It's also about intimacy and connecting with a partner. Yes. But before we connect with a partner, if we're single, we have to connect with ourselves, right? So it's like this idea of feeling good in your body, how you eat, if you exercise, just how you feel as a sensual, sexy, fertile woman. Okay. And the book can definitely help with that.
Right. Well, some women also will say, well, it doesn't matter my age because I look younger than I am, or I exercise, or I eat well. But isn't it true that we're born with all the eggs that we'll ever have, and then all the good ones are released early, and then the ones that are really left as we get older are the more damaged ones from, or is that anything?
Partly it is true that as we age, our fertility goes down. They say that they actually call advanced maternal age 35 plus, right? Yeah. And then there's women in their 40s, but it's very individual. For example, it's not just about lifestyle, that's a big part, but it's also about sort of looking at your ovarian reserve and finding out what you're, going to a doctor and really getting medical tests and looking to see. But the one thing the doctors can't look at is the quality of your eggs. Okay. Nobody can they can tell you about how many you have left, your ovarian reserve. And they can say that, as you age, the statistics go way down of conception, and they do. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean women that are in their 40s are not going to be able to conceive. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I remember when I did happen to get pregnant at, I think I was 43 or 44. I'd never had kids, and then after 7 weeks, it was just, I went for another ultrasound. They said it's not viable. It's very common. It just, the egg wasn't viable. Yeah. So it was
But that happens in 30-years too.
Yeah,
right?
Yes,
it's not just 40-year-olds.
So let's talk about that, because I think in your book you talk about how there's a lot of infertility now, and it's I think there's so much pollution in everything, and the toxicity, and even in our mothers, maybe if they were smoking or they were toxic, then we get that, and then we have the environment. So do you see more of the infertility, and do you think that's what's going on because of that?
I really do. I think that there's a lot of environmental problems, and it doesn't just affect women, but it also affects men.
The men's sperm and everything. Yeah.
Right, and more we're starting to see in the news how men who are unhealthy have, a higher risk of having abnormal sperm. Mm. So it's not just a female thing.
Right, they want to blame it on the ladies.
Right, 40% of infertility is also male-driven. Wow. So I'm starting to, work with a lot of not only women but men in really optimizing their lifestyle. And I'm sure a lot has to do with, plastics in our environment, but also computers, right? Men putting, a cell phone in their pocket near their testicles, or putting a laptop on there, right? All those things have a big impact on sperm.
Wow, that is really interesting. So I love how you talk about like Chinese medicine and different things. You talk about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, the 5-element lover's wheel. Talk about that.
I'm so excited to talk about it because I kind of just made it up.
Oh, I love it.
I know. I've been studying Chinese medicine and practicing it for over 25 years, and no one ever talked about sex in any of these sort of elements, right? Everything else was included. So, for example, there's 5 elements, and each one of them has sort of an emotion, a body part, a color, a sound. And what I did was added sort of a dimension of sexuality. For example, earth element people. Earth element is about, our digestion and how we process food. And it's also about earth element people are like your earth mothers. They want to take care of everybody. But sometimes in sexuality, an earth person might want to please their partner, but has a difficult time asking for what they want sexually. It's a hard conversation, right? To sort of, ask for what we need. So it's this idea of when we identify ourselves on this wheel, we might be able to start a conversation with our partner like, wow, this is something I want to talk about, And so I went through all the different elements, earth, fire, wood, water, metal, and talked about when it's healthy and when you're in balance and how that is as a lover, and when it's imbalanced and when we need help and when we need to have a discussion.
Oh, so give us an example. Like if somebody's imbalanced in something, what do they do?
So let's talk about the wood element. Okay, right? The wood element. The wood element is about. I like to talk about it because I use it as sort of wood makes fire, right? So we need the kindling of like arousal and desire and passion, right? So in balance, a person with good wood energy might talk about and share fantasies with their partner. Like, wow, I'd love it if you dressed up today, or I'd love it if we went to the sex toy shop. And they're not afraid to like say it. But when you're imbalanced, you might be holding all that in. I've actually met people that have these like secret lives that they don't tell their partner, like where they really like to do this, but they're ashamed to talk about it. So a healthy wood energy would be sharing with your partner your fantasies or something you might want to explore.
Yeah. And what about metal?
Metal is a really important thing because metal is about how we armor and protect ourselves, right? This idea of if we've had maybe trauma in our lives, a lot of women and also men will shut down around our sexuality, right? And protect. So, women who are like, really can't have an orgasm or don't really want to be touched or can't really let go. So a healthy metal element is about learning how to release and let go, because the metal element is the lungs and large intestine. The lungs take in air and then they also exhale, you release. And the same with intestines, right? Large intestines, you take food, you process it, and let it go. So a healthy element is able to go through life. So, for example, let's say you have a miscarriage. You're able to mourn and grieve because the metal element is about grief. And then you're able to find a way to let that go, right? So healthy metal lets go, and non-healthy metal holds on, and that gets in the way of connecting, yeah?
And you also talk about stress in your book. So I imagine, there's things that you need to do to let go of any anger or any unprocessed emotions, too, that can help with that.
Because no one has stress, right?
right. So, and there was some interesting things where you show on the body different places to push and different things. Talk a little bit about that, like what we can do there.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Chinese medicine and acupuncture is we have these energy pathways, meridians in our body. It's super fascinating. We can sort of press on those and those acupuncture points to release, to get in touch with and to stimulate our energy flow, because a lot of times when we're stressed, this energy gets stuck, right? I mean, it's like frequent sighing or frustration, it's sometimes pressing points and doing deep breathing will allow this energy to start flowing again. And that's super important.
Right. And so can people come to see you in your office in West LA for acupuncture? Are you doing that?
Yeah. I'm doing it today, in fact.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I work a lot, and I have colleagues as well, associates. But yes, people can come see me if they want to get personalized acupuncture, herbal medications, so forth and so on. Yeah.
So if somebody comes in, you probably do a whole program for them for fertility, the herbs. Talk a little bit about the herbs. Can some people take some on their own, or do they really need someone to put together a program for them, or what are some of the fertility herbs?
Yeah, herbs I think they're best when they're prescribed by an herbalist or someone who knows what they're doing, because the Chinese have been doing this, or have a whole history of herbology that's 3,000 years plus. They really studied these herbs well, and so what they did was they made these traditional formulas with like a little bit of each herb. It's not just taking one herb, but they're combinations of herbs. It's like making a vegetable soup. Yeah. It's like vegetable soup versus tomato soup. It's like you get more vegetables in the vegetable soup. Yeah. So they make these concoctions, and I think it's very individual, because we have this way of diagnosing by looking at your tongue and pulse and everything about you and your symptoms, to be able to individually write formulas based on, like, let's say what's going on with you and what do we need to address, as opposed to like kitchen sink, here's an herb for sex drive. Yeah,
right.
It's very individual.
Yeah, because I know someone who has these drops, like these libido drops or whatever, but that there's but it would be great to have a special formula just for you, because also herbs, we think that they're safe, but we could be taking too much or taking something that doesn't go well with us, right? It's kind of tricky.
Yeah. I think that herbs are important to get prescribed. There are a lot of amazing herbs for sex drive, and for some people they're very appropriate, right? But what happens with sex drive, as we know, as women, it's really complicated. Women will come in and say, I have low sex drive, and I see that a ton in my practice. And and for me, I want to understand what that actually means. Like, is it that she really doesn't have sex when they're having sex? It's like there's no drive, or is it that she's really not being aroused enough? Because there is arousal and desire for women. So, for example, a woman might not feel like she has a sex drive, but if she's aroused and touched and kissed on the back of her neck, maybe she's like, oh, I do want to have sex, right? So sometimes it's really not just as simple as like low hormones, yeah?
Yeah, we hear that a lot with after menopause. I have a lot of friends, I'm in that category, so a lot of women, it's just like, I don't even think about sex. It's just, but you're hearing it from younger women then, I guess, because if they're thinking about having a baby and they're like that, or,
Yeah, I think it's complicated. I mean, even, look, I'm in menopause too. And I sort of know that it really is different, but it can be really great. It's just a different experience, and there are things we can do to help, cultivate that sex drive, self-pleasuring, and using herbs and using essential oils, and really trying to expand that moment for ourselves to really understand what is our desire, what arouses us, yeah? It's
essential oils, I like that. What are some of the essential oils that are good to use?
There's I like to use rose oil for my patients. Yeah, for internal for the vagina.
Oh.
Because rose oil kind of plumps up the tissues if you have to use an oil. But there's lots of very sort of sensual oils one could use to, like liang. I'm probably not pronouncing that right.
Ylang.
Like jasmine. Things that will kind of you smell them,
And even putting them in the diffuser, for the room.
Yeah, in the diffuser. And I'll have people do that, just in their room for just ambiance, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, you talk about making it, and putting some nice sheets and making the place, inviting. And it's a whole, because if you're in a relationship for a while, things can get stale. And it's not that you don't have that drive. It's just that it's nothing, because there's nothing like that first, week or month that you're with someone or you see someone. It's like you can't eat, your heart's going, it's like wow, and then years go by, it's just like your best friend, and you've got to cultivate it.
Yeah, it's actually physiological what happens when we meet somebody.
Yeah.
There's hormones that take over. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of like epinephrine and norepinephrine, like that sympathetic, like I can't eat, and then there's oxytocin and dopamine and all these. You're flooded with neurotransmitters and flooded with that in love feeling, and that they say it lasts about a year, maybe two, and then it does start to wean, and you get comfortable, and then you have to really work at shifting the relationship and making time. And I have patients that don't even kiss anymore. Right. They forgot to kiss.
Yeah, I'm on my third marriage, but we've been together 18 years, and he's a hot Latino. It's very passionate. But in past relationships and marriages, it was like he's my brother. I don't feel anything, want to have sex with this man anymore. It's just it turned into that, and it's like, oh my gosh, is this always how it's going to be? And a lot of women would say that, like, well, it's not exciting anymore. And we want that hit as humans of excitement, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why people change relationships.
Yeah, they change relationships.
It's not real exciting anymore.
And then I also do card readings for fun, and I would say 99.9 of the people that come to me are women, and I'm on one of those like hot psychic hotlines sometimes, and some of the women, so many of them will say, is my ex, I want to know about my ex. And it's like, well, what about him? Well, he's with somebody else now, and it was a bad relationship, and I say, so you want him back? No, but is he thinking about me? Or what is my ex thinking? Or is my ex going to come back? Or is my ex, all these women pining for these exes, and when I dig, it wasn't a good situation. So something there is holding on. What's this about? Any hormones there about hanging on to exes?
I think we're personally and professionally, I think relationships are sticky. Sometimes we have ex people that we really have great chemistry with, but it's really not a healthy relationship.
Right. Yes.
And so sometimes that hit of like, I want to be with them, but I know it's not good for me.
Right.
And I see this with women a lot too that come into my practice where they marry someone that's like their best friend because it's a good guy.
Yeah.
But the passion piece was kind of missing from the start. So I see these women that are doing IVF because they don't really want to have sex with their partner because they married out of safety.
Yeah.
Because this was like my best friend, but the spark wasn't there, which I find super interesting. Is it possible to have the spark and the good relationship, together? Or can we cultivate that spark if it's not there? Like, what can we do to bring some passion if you don't have that chemistry with a person? But relationships are complex, right?
So complex. It's like the women are attracted to the bad boys, and that's how they get excited,
Yeah, and that's like, I think that's also, we sometimes are attracted to people that are from our past or remind us of our parents. I think it's complicated, and to really understand ourselves and what we're all about. It's really a self-discovery, I think. It's the key thing.
Exactly. So you also talk about chakras, which I love. Talk about the chakras, and do those have to be opened and balanced? Does that help with the fertility, or?
In Chinese medicine, and I'm going to use two chakras in Chinese medicine: the heart chakra, and then the second chakra, which is our sex drive and our fertility. In Chinese medicine, there's an extra channel called the Chong meridian that actually connects the heart to the reproductive organs and our sex drive. And I feel like it's so important to have both of them when you're making a baby, and also when you're connecting with your person. To have really deep intimacy is to be able to look in your partner's eyes, to connect into their soul, maybe while making love.
Yeah.
To kiss really passionately, because the heart opens up to the tongue. So really the best love making or baby making is when our heart and love is dropped into our reproductive organs and they're united.
Right.
That's beautiful, right? It doesn't always have to be that way, but just in terms of really connecting in deep intimacy.
Yeah, we're really missing that these days. And the first thing we do in the morning is look at our phone instead of turn over and hug our partner. Or, that's, I think, gotten the electronics, like you said, in many ways have gotten in the way.
Yes. I would agree. And also it's not good for fertility, having electronics. So really, I try to encourage people to not have electronics in the bedroom. Of course, I'm guilty. I do have a TV in my bedroom. I like to watch movies.
We do too. We have this big TV in the bedroom because we lay in bed at night and watch movies or our shows. And then they say it's not good to have it in there. But
yeah. I mean, they say to cover it actually at night for good feng shui to cover it at night because it's, But yeah, the whole bedroom setup. I have a whole chapter in my book around like creating this sacred bedroom from Chinese feng shui. It's really it's a whole art. I've had to like remove pictures of my children in my bedroom.
Oh,
because that's not where the kids' pictures are supposed to be to create this sort of sacred space. Yeah.
I put a big chunk of black tourmaline next to the TV, and it's supposed to help with the electromagnetic pollution.
Oh, that's a great idea.
All around. So, you talk about crystals in your book a little bit?
I interviewed some really amazing people that talk about crystals and understanding them and stuff crystals that are good for fertility, but like rose quartz. Yeah. But the thing that I got out of this interview that I did, but with a woman who wrote Energy Muse or who has a crystal shop, was really that it's a really personal thing. It's like what we're attracted to is what we need. So like there'll be an attraction, like I'm wearing my 2 crystal rings, 2 stone rings, right? Yeah. But what we're attracted to is maybe the stone that resonates with us. It's not necessarily like we have to get rose quartz because that's for fertility. Maybe we need something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I love crystals too. I do some crystal healing and Reiki and stuff. So I've got all these crystals here. And then what I like is I have one of those, this might be cool for somebody to do. I have one of those water bottles. It's glass, and then it has a crystal pod. It has the rose quartz and clear quartz and amethyst, and then you can actually charge it with your intention, that little pod of crystals, so somebody could charge it, like when I'm drinking this water, I'm becoming more fertile or something like that.
I've had those waters. They're amazing. Like I have someone who has a water and it has like an intention, like 7 different waters with 7 different stones, and I'm pouring, and like I need this today.
And I have stickers, these clear stickers with intentions on it that you could put, because water's programmable, so you can put the word on your water bottle, like fertile or joyful or abundant or whatever. So that's pretty cool, because he feels like you're adding a little bit of magic and you're creating something, I think.
I think that's great, and I think we all need magic, right?
That's right, we need magic. Because it is the whole thing about creating a baby. I mean, it's completely magical what happens, so...
It's amazing. Even when I sometimes go to IVF transfers and watch, the embryo being put into the woman's uterus, and every time it's like life. It's amazing. It's a miracle. No matter how it's made, if it's made in a petri dish, if it's made in your body, it's magnificent. It's really amazing that life can keep going. Yeah.
I think our culture makes it so clinical, everything. So even when you go to the doctor, something to smell and stuff. So I think it's wonderful to go to somewhere. I bet you have some essential oil smell in your office, or, I bet it's just something really special. So we've got to get away from that clinical part and add that magic.
Yeah, because the clinical part is really about, like, you only have time. It's very fear-driven, right?
Yeah.
You're 36 and... oh no, your levels are here, and I think it's in the realm of possibility. Mm-hmm. Being open to what's possible. And dating too, right? It's like it's so easy. Like my friends are like, there's no men in LA, right? I mean, it's this very like cut and dry, but that can't be. So when you open up to possibility, it really opens the door to magic and getting.
And when we say this, because I hear women saying that a lot, all the good men are taken, or they're all jerks, or I can't try. And that is a prayer, that is an affirmation to the universe, and that's exactly what you keep finding. So the words are so important. So I know that, yes, statistics, like you said, it's the body's made a certain way, and as we get older, there is a harder. But if that's somebody's intention, you've got to keep that out of there, and just the intentions, the affirmations on conceiving healthy and all of that.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like I have so many success stories, so many miracles where doctors are like, yeah, you're not going to get pregnant, and they did. Yeah. So I'm all about the mysterious and the magical.
Now, I think, though, seeing all of these celebrities, giving birth at 50 or whatever, but a lot of women, I think they don't realize that they have millions of dollars to spend on these other people's eggs or IVF or all of that. I don't think they're really having them naturally, but I think for a lot of women, we're thinking, yeah, but she just had a baby and she's 50 or she. So I think that kind of,
Yeah, I mean, a 50-year-old probably chances are very low, but I know it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with these movie stars, you don't know that they didn't bank their eggs, so these weren't eggs of theirs that were banked a long time ago, and then they fertilized them and put them in. We don't know a lot of the details, right? So, and they could be donor eggs. A lot of my patients do donor eggs, so we don't know.
Yeah. Denise's website is right there and in the comments below, and please leave us some comments. Did you give birth late? Are you having problems with fertility? Are you going to seek out some holistic help? I want to know your comments, what your experience is, and please connect with Denise and check out her website and her book, which is available on Amazon and on her website. And thanks, Denise, for stopping by and chatting.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.